Are you sure you want to do this?
As far as this critic is concerned, there are two perfect Alien movies. The first one from 1979, directed by Ridley Scott, and the badass James Cameron sequel from 1986. I tend to flip-flop between which one I prefer, and honestly, it usually just depends on the one I saw most recently because they're both so good. I would say that each film probably ranks among the most perfectly conceived and executed blockbusters of all time. The sequels, though, well, as everybody knows, those are very much a mixed bag at best. There have been interesting ones, like David Fincher's Alien 3, which I still think is a little bit underrated. Then terrible ones, like Alien Resurrection, which I think is fairly unwatchable nowadays. And of course, the two Alien vs. Predator movies. Then there were the frustrating ones, which are the two Ridley Scott prequels, Prometheus and Alien Covenant. But until now, there have been no truly good Alien sequels. As such, the fact that director Fede Alvarez was able to make a slam bag Alien sequel that trumps every other film in the franchise save the first two is cause for celebration. Yet it does suffer from the fact that its director was perhaps hampered in his effort to make a lean and mean Alien movie with an ill-advised directive to connect the film to Ridley Scott's Prometheus and Alien Covenant, which leaves the film feeling like it's 75% kick-ass and 25% space bioengineering nonsense. So in this one, seeking to escape their grim fate as indentured workers for Weyland-Yutani on a lifeless rock, a group of young colonists scavenge an abandoned space station, only to discover a terrifying secret that threatens to pick them off one by one, or worse. And can you guess what the secret is? So I have to say, in this case, the good far outweighs the bad by a large margin. One thing that Alvarez does that none of the other films the franchise have done so far is that it effectively conveys just how hopeless life is in the future alien world that we're seeing here. Perhaps we'll get more of this in Noah Hawley's upcoming Alien prequel TV series, but as far as the films go, this is really unique. Our young crew is shown to be comprised of more or less orphans whose parents all expired due to the terrible working conditions they toiled in and have left their offspring little more than indentured servants. Our heroine, Kaylee Spaney's Rain, is one such victim of the heartless company, with only her malfunctioning synthetic brother, David Johnson's Andy, left to keep her company. In the movie, she falls in with a crew of scavengers led by an old flame, Archie Renault's Tyler, who wants to provide a better life for his younger sister, Isabella Merced's Kay. He thinks he stumbled upon a can't-lose scheme where they can salvage life pods from a derelict station, but he needs Andy's tech to get the job done, leading to an alliance with Rain. Of course, it doesn't take long for them to arrive on the space station and find themselves at the mercy of facehuggers and xenomorphs. And I gotta say, the action in this is brutal, with Fede Alvarez making it one of the goriest Alien movies ever made. In fact, I think it's much gorier than the first movie, and a heck of a lot gorier than the second film. You've never seen a chest burster depicted in such an agonizing, painful way as it is here. I mean, it's really something. And the cast is terrific, with Spaney's Rain far from the Ripley clone you might expect given the ads. She's just a kid kind of out of her element, but she rises to the occasion without becoming a superhero or losing her vulnerability. She really is quite good in this film. The same thing more or less goes for Renault's Tyler, who could have been depicted as a slimy crook, but he has pure intentions and also sports a heroic streak, making him a believable partner for Rain. Poor Isabella Merced, though. She makes a huge impression in this movie, but boy, do they put her through the physical ringer more than anyone else in the movie, with a lot of the movie's biggest scare moments involving her. Whew, there are some pretty gnarly ones here, folks. But of the cast, the one who very nearly walks away with the movie is David Johnson as Andy. Initially a simple and sweet robot, he gets an upgrade on the space station and has to wrestle with two battling sets of programming, with him kind of a cross between Ian Holm's cold-blooded Ash from Alien and Lance Henriksen's much more kindly Bishop from Aliens. It's a heck of a performance, and he and Spaney deliver what could go down as iconic franchise performances, but are also kind of doing their own thing without copying anybody else. The movie also benefits from superb cinematography by Gallo Olivares, which is very much in the vein of the original Alien. Benjamin Wallfish's score also is the best we've gotten in the franchise since James Horner's take on Aliens. Really, the soundtrack in this movie is great. Alas, with Alien Romulus being packed with so much awesomeness, it's a real drag when clunkier elements that seem lifted from another movie or perhaps another director get worked in. there's one additional character that has not been revealed in any of the ads or early footage, who is a callback to the earlier movies, but the CGI depicting this character is, very poorly realized. That's a shame, as the FX work in this movie, which is largely practical, is impeccable otherwise. Part of me wonders whether or not it was an 11th hour edition, and a bad one, to be honest. As soon as you see this character introduced, you're going to immediately know what I'm referring to, and I bet this is going to be the one element of the movie that it's going to be attacked for. There's also far more continuity with Prometheus and Alien Covenant than expected, with it feeling like producer Ridley Scott still has a lot of say over how the franchise proceeds. It feels like a bit of a distraction from an otherwise excellent Alien movie, and the big downside of this, as somebody who actually didn't mind the prequels, is that towards the end, the xenomorphs we all love watching, kill people, feels secondary in favor of another threat which seems lifted out of one of the prequels. These added-on elements make Alien Romulus a lot more of a mixed bag than you'd think, but I hesitate to put any of the blame on Fede Alvarez. When he's allowed to do his own thing, which seems to be the case for about 3/4 of the movie, it's one of the best Alien movies ever. But he's shoehorned in with a bunch of tacked-on mythology that really makes the movie start to suffer. At any rate, it's still probably the third best movie of the franchise, and hopefully it leads to more movies set in this world from Alvarez, who really does seem like a natural successor to Ridley Scott and James Cameron as far as the series goes. Only thing, though, is that I hope that if he gets to do a follow-up to this one, it is pure Alvarez without him having to incorporate any of Ridley's ideas, which, great of a director as he is, I kind of want to see Alvarez take the ball with this one, because he really seems to know exactly how to make an Alien movie, and it's these added-on elements that make it a lot clunkier than it should be. Even still, I give it a very strong 7 out of 10, and you know what? I mean, it's an Alien movie, so I'm going to watch this at least a few more times, probably this summer. So, go see it in theaters, you'll have a blast.